Who told her about us?
The most violent moment in The Sopranos isn't a murder. It's a marriage falling apart. Whitecaps doesn't just showcase great acting. It commits a hostile takeover of the category. Edie Falco's work as a woman whose patience finally detonates is so precise, so psychologically lived in, it inspires the most modern of litmus tests. The impulse to pause mid-episode and confirm the Emmys found her. The verdict already stands, but the instinct is understandable. The performance is a clinic in emotional modulation, stuttering breaths, ice-calm restraint that flips to volcanic fury.
Just get out, Tony. Don't even say anything.
A recoil from Tony's touch that carries a decade of marital history in a single gesture. It's the sort of work that makes best of television feel timid. Try best of any medium. The episode's vicious domestic set pieces are painful for the right reasons. The rhythm is recognizable to anyone who has witnessed a relationship burst at the seams.
I was wondering when you were going to move those theater seats down to the garage.
People talking past each other, then colliding, then missing again. Lulls that feel like ceasefires before the next tactical strike. There's a consensus that these fights don't just ring true, they sting. The bile is not stylized, it's specific. And then there's the exquisite irony.
I didn't do it.
I found a fingernail, Tony. You saw it that day on your night.
Carmela's accusation about finding Svetlana's nail in Tony's shirt, a detail the audience knows belongs to someone else entirely. The camera catches Tony's flicker of realization in real time. He's been hit with the wrong smoking gun, and still can't refute the charge without incriminating himself. That, he starts, and then, cornered, gives up the nothing. It's a helpless little collapse, and yes, the look in his eyes concedes that this time, the old evasions won't get him out.
Thought you might want to know we have some sadness in common. He's been sleeping with my cousin Svetlana.
Even with one pin missing, his defenses topple. The interplay only works because the partner across from Falco is James Gandolfini.
You know what, Tony? What's done is done.
Their chemistry weaponizes intimacy. She nails him to the cross. He absorbs, blusters, blinks, and, in the split-second retreats, betrays a dawning self-knowledge he can't use. The show has been flirting with the possibility that therapy might be doing something. Anything. By season 4, he's less reactive. The panic attacks have eased, and there are flashes of thinking before speaking. Improvement, of course, is not a neat trajectory. He also converts lessons into tools of better management for a criminal enterprise. Useful skills, ethically misapplied. Progress and rot in a single organism. The writing meets the performances at their height. Whitecap shuffles domestic tragedy and gangster farce with insulting ease.
Whose idea was Whitecaps?
Tony buys a shore palace as a distraction, then nearly browbeats the attorney who stands in the way. The subsequent humiliation of that attorney is brisk, ugly, and instantly effective. Then the house, like so many Soprano projects, recedes into narrative fog, as if to underline how frequently these men give away the plot of their own lives and call it strategy. To the victor go the spoils, indeed. They just rarely hold on to them. The episode is a trove of small, cruel gems. Were you best friends with all of them too? Lands like a surgical strike, a single line that arrests Tony's forward motion. You want to hit me? Dares him.
But you want to hit me, Tony, go ahead.
Forces the question of what exactly his manhood amounts to when there are no soldiers around to salute it.
He made me feel like I mattered!
He made me feel like I mattered arrives not as romantic confession, but as the death knell of a marriage that fed Carmela's status while starving her soul.
Every morning when he'd come to pick you up.
The fury is incandescent because the desire was, for a minute, oxygen. A brief detour into origin stories. There's credible chatter that Gloria Trillo was once slated as the season 4 catalyst before life intervened. Annabella Sciorra has said David Chase had plans to bring her back, but couldn't reach her to confirm.
I love you.
You got the wrong fucking number. Don't call here again.
If so, the pivot to Svetlana and the random call from Irina that finally lights the fuse underscores an unglamorous truth. It isn't always the grand tragedy that ends a marriage.
The Russian called.
Sometimes it's a pebble that tips the avalanche because the mountain has already been hollowed out.
Furio, come by.
He's already 40 minutes late.
When Carmela finally says out loud what everyone knew about Furio, the scaffolding comes down. The manner of collapse is almost beside the point. The collapse was the point. The reactions to Falco's performance travel from reverence to awe to practical application. There's the irresistible urge to test drive Carmela's "listen to yourself, you sound demented" in everyday conversation, because the line is that surgical.
40 grand from the bird feed.
There's the gleeful echoing of 40 grand from the bird feeder, tragicomic shorthand for the show's ability to turn a real estate farce into an existential crisis.
Remember when is the lowest form of conversation.
And yes, the community can pivot from analysis to full-on quotation bee at a moment's notice. The irony that "remember when" is the lowest form of conversation gets deployed as a corrective during a quoting spree only sweetens the scene. When a series writes a quotations book people can recite for 20 years, the temptation is eternal.
The sacred and the profane.
The sacred and the profane trade places until the propane looks positively holy.
It's over between us. It has been for a very long time.
Bullshit.
Viewers with similar domestic battle scars recognize themselves in these scenes. The accuracy hurts. Others fixated on craft. Reports that some sequences were shot for hours to hit the right register. Falco's own cool admission that she doesn't particularly remember filming the central blowout. Apparently, just another day at the office. The juxtaposition is telling. By many accounts, Falco could execute a brutal scene and then retire to her trailer to read, while Gandolfini had more difficulty leaving Tony in the soundstage. The toll on him, physical, mental, emotional, is well documented. Anxiety, periods of disappearance, special care when scenes involve the child actors. Even in interviews, he wrestled with the character's body. The inside joke about rolls of fat barely concealing how exposed he felt. The show cut close enough to some viewers' own struggles with eating and self-loathing that offhand barbs about Tony eating himself to death felt like body blows. The realism hurts because it's not stylized cruelty, it's calibrated recognition. Falco's portrayal invites a perennial sidebar about Carmela's ethics. She is a shallow enabler who adores the lifestyle, but the performance refuses to flatten her into a caricature. She is not evil.
What's killing me is that this is a self-inflicted wound.
She is complicit and trapped, furious and grieving, powerful in her house and powerless in her marriage. The cocktail that results, powerlessness, desperation, rage, grief, plays across her body like weather. The shoulders carry the world. The voice carries the storm. The spin-off chatter arrives right on cue. Is Nurse Jackie worth it? Absolutely. Expertly acted, thoroughly different from The Sopranos. The jokes about Carmela moving to All Saints Hospital and needing to call her sponsor are irresistible fan conflations, but the point stands. Falco built two entirely separate TV landmarks, and the degree of difficulty in switching between them is its own quiet marvel.
My wife invites the priest.
If further proof of her range is required, Father Intentola's perfume cloud of subtext should suffice.
Jesus Christ, I don't have enough on my plate. One of my key guys disappeared to Naples, for Christ's sake.
Furio, for his part, inspires the usual agonized romantic yearning and pragmatic fear. Everyone wants the ponytail and the chivalry back. No one wants him anywhere near a man whose only consistent love is revenge.
I think she's upset about Furio's dad.
His exit is maddening and merciful in the same breath. Another lesson in how Chase denies the audience what it wants to protect the show from what would cheapen it. Rankings pile up, as they do. Whitecaps is an all-timer, a favorite among favorites.
It was because of Furio, wasn't it?
Sometimes second place only to the confession about Furio. The writer's room, in the popular imagination, cooked with hot grease here, a vivid way of saying they wrote at a boil and never spilled. Credit where it's due. HBO backed a series willing to put its emotional thesis on the table and smash the table. And because the Sopranos fandom can't resist transforming high drama into vaudeville, the thread happily derails into roleplay. Pilfered pork loins, imaginary partners authorizing approvals, the ritual hazing of anyone who pauses an episode to verify the award case. Then it corrects course to what matters. The rare spectacle of two actors at the peak of their powers, locked in mortal conversational combat. Aida Turturro's excellence gets its due, too. Another testament to what Gandolfini could bring out in his scene partners, and what Falco could incinerate on her own. Without him, she might be the undisputed best in show. With him, they redefine the ceiling together.
What does she have that I don't have?
In the end, Whitecaps is not simply quotable, although the urge is understandable. It is a character catastrophe, rendered with such control that it feels dangerous to watch. The episode captures what the series does better than almost any other.
Tonya loves me, you know?
Collapse the domestic and the criminal into one moral topography. The house by the shore, the nail on the nightstand, the call that shouldn't have mattered and did. Every prop becomes evidence. And if there's still a need for proof that Falco deserved every award in sight, consider this. She made an audience collectively pause to memorialize a victory before the bell rang, then returned to the ring and won again. Alright, now get over it, if getting over art like this were remotely possible. After watching that collapse, do you still think the scariest thing about The Sopranos was the mob? Subscribe.